you've got to be true to you. And you don't have to share it with anybody else, and I'll tell you why. Because most of the people you're going to share it with are not your age, and they have no idea. Well, hi, everybody. This is Diane Gilman, formerly known as the Queen of Jeans, but now the proud host of my podcast, Too Young to Be Old. Speaking of being old, and I like to now call myself an OG, an old girl, why is everybody so terrified of aging? Well, my own personal opinion, because nobody gives us any good news about aging. Everything you see on cable TV is about having an illness, a disease, a pain, an ache, and how to cope with it. You never hear that these are the fulfilling years, that these could be the most emotionally satisfying years of your life. You never hear anything good about it. And I do want to say the happiest people over 70 actually don't have a goal of staying young. They've learned to stop measuring their particular worth against a version of themselves that doesn't exist. Imagine you're in a race. Imagine you're in the Olympics and they tell you, yeah, everybody else is facing forward and racing, but you have to turn around and actually run backwards and win the race. Not going to happen. You're not going to be a winner. If you tell me, do you want to win or you want to lose? I'm going to tell you, I want to win. Chasing youth is a losing game. When you get to be about 65 or 60 or even 55, you have to realize you are going to have to unlearn everything society has told you. I always bring up the Kardashians, but they are the epitome of who, me? I'm never going to age. And the truth is, you can stay within a certain notch for a long, long time. But then you have got to reinvent yourself, reimagine yourself, and come out with an authentic version of you that meets the moment with honesty. I'll tell you what, I had to do it, and 80 was a huge demarcation point for me. And actually, it's been fun. I can't tell you it hasn't. It's been challenging. I've kind of made a series of games out of it that has plateaus to them. So I want to give you the quote of the day. Two quotes. Number one, Keith Richards, guitarist for the Rolling Stones, who said when he was asked about still performing on stage to sold out stadiums at the age of 81, he said, you know, life is a funny thing. No one wants to grow old, but no one wants to die young. Okay, so Mark Twain said, complete opposite personality. Do not complain about growing old. It is a privilege denied to many. So what do you do instead? You learn how to be the best version of you in the moment. If more of us did that instead of thinking, oh my God, I've got to look 30 years younger. Oh my God, I've got to dress 30 years younger. How am I going to do that? Nobody is going to tell you because the information of how to realistically make the most out of these years is simply not in the forefront. When you take a look at celebrity, they're all in their 20s, late 20s, early 30s. Nobody comes to me and says, what's that like for you? How are you maximizing your life? How are you minimalizing the downside? And what's the upside? Well, somebody I absolutely love, Helen Mirren, they asked her, what is it like being 80? She was pretty honest. She said, I find everything about it fabulous. Fuck it, quote unquote. I'm alive and I'm working and I can drink a glass of wine and I can wear makeup and I can listen to music and I can watch a beautiful sunset and I can go to the theater and I can watch a movie and I can binge on Netflix and I can live life. It's a beautiful thing. That is an answer. I don't find this time of life any less fulfilling or poignant or meaningful or deeply moving or beautiful. I just find it different. And that is what our society, which is so youth obsessed, never lets you in on. That this is such an important time of life, a time to delve deeper into everything you love, to reinvent yourself, to reinvigorate your soul. Start something new. Maybe all your life you've dreamt of doing something, but you've always been taking care of others. Now is your time. Nobody ever tells you that. We have a million guidelines as young women in our 20s, 30s, 40s, and then it just falls off. You're just moving on to another phase that is no less weighty and worthy than where you've been. But it's no longer about automatic perfection. You're actually going to have to put some work in here, ladies. So, number one, totally true. And perception is reality. So, how you emanate your energy is how people are going to react back to you. So, project yourself with as much pure energy and love for life as you can. And you will see that the reaction you get back will be a fantastic amount of warmth and energy and love surrounding you. And know that when you get to be 55, 60, as a female or beyond, you have choices. Only you are holding yourself back from pursuing your passions. And yeah, the passions may not be the same. May not be about dating. It may not be about having another man in your life. It may be about having art in your life or love in your life or giving back. But you are the director of your lifetime movie. Once you understand that you truly have that power, life becomes a lot more interesting. So here's the point I want to make. Whatever society tells you, chasing youth is the wrong goal because it is impossible to achieve. And you are never going to win, and you're never going to feel good about yourself. Aging is not about just wrapping things up in neat little bows and walking away from them. It's about actually taking what you want your legacy and your narrative to be and deepening it. So you need to have some courage, and you need to be able to start again and reinvent yourself. That is a key to aging well. I'm not chasing youth, but I want to be my best version of me. And people really react well to that. People are looking for authenticity in life because so much we see on social media, and especially with all the AI that's showing up that makes aging look different, look impossible, look non authentic. People really crave the truth. So, who are you? Are you the older version of 60? Are you the youngest version you can be of 85, the most energetic? And one thing I always see in society today is we are never encouraged to do anything with the last third of our lives. We're never told pursue a passion. We're never told you're even allowed to have a passion. We're never told that there is going to be and should be constant forward movement in your life. I'm going to quote Albert Einstein, who said, this is non-scientific, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving forward. And that is so true. I think the one thing that people are really terrified of with aging is that you will lose the essence of you and everything that carried you through your youth into middle age. And you don't have to, but I'll tell you what, you have to choose what elements of you do you want to carry forward into this period of life, and how are you going to do that and keep that intact? And how are you going to take advantage and put together who you're going to be from 60, 55, going forward? That definitely changed my movement forward, and I had to go into, during treatment, at least a year of suspended motion. I'd never not worked before, but what I did with that was I learned, number one, I couldn't be without goals and purposes. So I even put those into place as markers along the way with my treatment. And I realized that I was probably going to retire. Well, I retired at 78 years old. I worked longer than most, and I never gave myself more than maybe one moment of leisure. And I realized, yeah, retiring, not being purpose driven was not for me. So I think the one thing I'm trying to say along the way is you've got to be true to you. And you don't have to share it with anybody else. And I'll tell you why. Because most of the people you're going to share it with are not your age. And they have no idea. They're talking about a construct that's very distant to them. And I will tell you one other thing, and one of my very favorite quotes was from David Crosby of Crosby, Stills, and Nash, famous musician, who lived into his 80s. All these guys have lived really long lives, and God knows how, but there we are. And he said, money at a certain point means very little. Time is my number one most valuable commodity. And that's what I say too. So I can see where that is a dividing wall with all of my younger workmates. They've got 40 more years to kick the can down the road till they're my age. I'm 80. It's more immediate. It's more deeply personal that I get certain achievements under my belt, that I build my legacy, that I know where I'm going, and that I am not as patient as they are. And believe me, when I was 40, I kicked the can down the road. I was famous for that, but not anymore. Knowing who you are in the moment, taking advantage of the good parts of that, trying to slough off the negative parts of that. That is your job as you become an old girl, an OG. Samuel Jackson, who's almost 90, has a beautiful quote. And this is all about what you may want to achieve in that last third of your life. You don't need to know how to fly. You just need to believe you can. Amen to that. Don't try to think it out technically and, well, I could do this, but nah, I don't really have to. I could do that, but I don't know about that. But if you've got something that you're dreaming of, that you want to achieve, if you've got something where you want your voice to be heard, don't question all the technicalities and all the do's and don'ts and all the societal reprimands of how to do it, or you shouldn't be doing that at this time in your life. And don't ask yourself how, just ask yourself if you really want to. Believe in you. And that is one thing that has always been a keynote of my life, but becomes a little tougher to do as you get older, is you got to believe in you. Because you know what? Aging is so personal, so deeply individual, that even though younger people around you may always be giving you advice, they don't really know. They haven't gotten here yet. And this comes with a whole set of criteria that we have never lived through before. But I'll tell you what, I love this quote. Above all, be the heroine of your life, not the victim. Yeah, so many people are taught by everything we see in society about aging, that you are a victim of old age. No, you're not. In fact, you've just been invited into the most exclusive club on earth. And I'll bet you there's a universal reason for it. And you may spend the rest of your life discovering that reason. But don't see yourself as a victim. See yourself as a really fortunate and active guest. And this is such a customizable period of your life as well. And that goes back to you believing that you have the power to fly. You hold the power in your life. You are the artist with a paintbrush, and you're looking every day, every morning you wake up is a new blank canvas for you to paint a picture of who you are, what you are, and where you're going with the day. I wake up every morning and my mantra is, I'm so grateful to be alive. Thank you for allowing me another day. I'm going to do the very best with it I can and enjoy myself. And don't think that I'm not sitting here at 80 years old with aches, with pains, with limitations. But I'm learning how to work around those and not make those a negative. Just make those a new circumstance in my reality. So this time of life is all about you. And from a Greek philosopher, there is an incredible thought. This is from Seneca. Life is like a play. It's not the length, but the excellence of the acting that matters. So here we are. And my feeling is they say only 9% of us live to be 80. And the next 2 to 3 years are the most challenging. And you decide whether there is enough to enjoy, enough to do to remain here. So a lot more people from that 9% actually drop off between 80 and 85. And it is about excellence. And you can do it. You can have the most excellent thoughts. Keep a diary. Do an autobiography. Write that cookbook. Focus on what you need in the moment and maybe anticipate that millions of women need exactly what you need and you start a new business. But the one thing I tell you that I think is the key to throwing away that fear of aging and learning how to take advantage of these years, they're so precious, is believe they're worth something. Believe in yourself. And even though you may not be physically perfect anymore and have everything automatic and so easy like I did in my youth, I never wore makeup. I never even got a blow dry. Everything just sort of came together every day. This is a time of life when you're going to have to work for it. And you want to know something? You got the time to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. The real point of it all is make it worth it. Make it excellent. And do you ever notice you're standing in front of a microwave and boom, 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 3 minutes. And it's like, oh my God, this 3 minutes is taking forever. Will it ever end and I have my food? Or you're in some great moment and it's like, boom, it went by in a second. Well, there is a quote: time is too slow for those who wait and too swift for those who fear. So don't fear your old age. Don't have it slip away from you and go by in a heartbeat. And don't try to fill up empty microwave moments. But most of all, I want to say to you that you can manipulate time. Somebody said to me, do you feel at 80 years old that it all went by so quickly? No, I actually don't. I feel some periods that are unremembered or were I was on sort of autopilot, kind of slipped past, but I don't think life went by that quickly. And I think that we have the talent and the power and the control to make that period of life that becomes our last third, our third act, stretch it out, make it delicious, make it meaningful, make it like that dessert after a great meal that you never want to end. So, ask me on a beauty level about all the things that drive me crazy about the cosmetic industry as all of us, you and I, are growing older. And one basic point I will tell you is if you have made the decision to have natural gray hair or white hair like me, you can't find an eyebrow pencil in the right color. Oh, it's so weird. You go out into the market and yeah, there's like warm blondes and beiges, but that doesn't look right with salt and pepper. Until you get to Prime Prometics, which is literally the only eyebrow pencil on the market that comes in a gorgeous shade of medium gray. It looks natural. It is a very thin pencil, so you can actually feather in the lines. Very easy to work with and stays on for hours and hours. So if you want to bring your look closer together where everything melds and you want a more authentic look in your makeup, because it's so weird to put on your makeup and then have to put on a different color than your hair for your eyebrows. No, you do not have to suffer that way anymore. Prime Prometics, their gray eyebrow pencil, is superb and truly in an entire cosmetic market. It stands head and shoulders above the rest and is truly unique and tailored to us older girls. Thank you, Prime Prometics. And of course, go to primeprometics.com, type in our code, and get a discount. You are going to love this product. It is truly tailored for us older girls, and I am so grateful to have it in my life and my beauty kit. Yeah, I still have days where I get a lot done in a day, and it seems like I'm multitasking, and the time is just stretching. And I do have days where it goes by very quickly, but I'm going to leave you with a great phrase from John Lennon, the Beatles. Everything will be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. It's well, my friends. And may I say, I always wish for you that you remain too young to be old. Thank you so much for listening to Too Young to Be Old podcast. The episode may be over, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Diane Gilman, or visit our website, thedianegilman.com. If you like the show, leave us a rating or a review and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And until then, don't forget, age is just a number. Together, we'll prove that we are all too young to be old.